inside of me. You better watch out if your enemy's a road ahead of full prophecy to be the greatest beast the world has ever seen. I feed him every day like the bones clean. I feed him all the hate and he grows me. And he gets claws real big, pissed off quick. And if you cross him, you might drop dead. Ladies and gentlemen, creatures of the night, we gather today to voyage where no humans have gone before. Welcome to the DT Show, where we bring the fun in dysfunctional.
Oh, this is insane. So apparently, through the use of LiDAR, they have discovered that there are enormous structures underneath the Great Pyramid that go kilometers deep into the earth with coils. They don't understand what it is.
I don't know how they did it. All I know is they did it. I don't think anybody knows how they did it, how they lifted those stones, how they brought them up to that level. I think we're looking, again, at a lost technology.
People who aren't aware, there's a location in the Western Sahara Desert of Mauritania called the Richat structure. It's also commonly referred to as the Eye of the Sahara. Plato had described Atlantis as being to be made up of concentric circles, 3 of water, 2 of land, which matches the Richat structure. It also is said to have an opening to the sea at the south. And furthermore, it was said to have mountains to the north, and you just so happen to have mountains called the Atlas mountain chain, which Atlas was said to be the very first king of Atlantis.
And it was this ancient apocalypse 12,800 years ago that wiped that from the human memory banks almost completely, not entirely completely because there were survivors.
Are we alone in the universe? The question is back in the spotlight as government officials speak out in a new documentary.
Let me be clear. UAP are real. Advanced technologies not made by our government or any other government are monitoring sensitive military installations around the globe. Furthermore, the U.S. is in possession of UAP technologies, as are some of our adversaries.
People in New Jersey are concerned and demanding information after a wave of mysterious drone sightings. But the government has yet to give any concrete answers.
Hurry, all freaks, and grab a seat. You don't know what you don't know. It's What the Freak Friday.
Well, it's not Friday anymore, but it is a What the Freak kind of day. So welcome, guys, to the TT Show. I'm Daniel. Today, we're going to be talking about Liver King. He got arrested. He's apparently threatened Joe Rogan. He challenged him to a couple of fights, and now he's been arrested. And we're going to break it all down. So Liver King, a.k.a. I think his name's Brian Johnson is what his real name is, has been recently arrested. He traveled to the great state. Well, he's from Texas. He traveled to Austin and, got arrested. And it's pretty interesting. I wanted to break this down, and I watched a lot of Liver King's lives and recorded them and edited it down. A lot of it was pretty bad. I mean, some disturbing things. So he talks about how he gives himself an enema and lays down to defecate on himself. It's weird. And so we're going to break down all his videos. We're going to answer the question, did he really threaten Joe Rogan, or did he just merely, challenge him to a fight? So we'll break all those things down. But first, let's look at what was said. So according to TMZ, they broke this. Joe Rogan talked to the cops. Liver King is mentally unstable. I heard he's got a drug problem. And we're gonna go through that. Here's a picture, an image here in the background of Liver King's mugshot. All right, so this goes on to say Joe Rogan talked to cops after Liver King challenged him to a fight via social media. He told and Joe told police that fitness influencer appeared to be significantly unstable. According to the new legal docs obtained by TMZ, cops in Austin say that the former Fear Factor host told them that he interpreted Liver King's string of social media rants as threatening, which is why cops were called, and eventually led to Liver King being arrested on a charge of making a terroristic threat. So terroristic threat is the charge. We'll go through what it is he actually said and if the actions meet the charge. Police say Joe told them that he'd never had any sort of contact with Liver King, a real name Brian Johnson, and was unaware he had been targeting him, and cops say that Rogan went on to tell them that he'd been told Liver King has a significant drug issue. In Docs Police say, Joe told them, based on what he's seen from Liver King's recent Instagram post, the guy appears to be significantly unstable and seems like he needs help. I'm going to go ahead and agree with that. As we reported, cops say that Liver King traveled from Willis, Texas to Austin, where Joe lives, and records his famous Spotify podcast. And they busted him at a hotel Tuesday night after he kept ranting online about wanting to fight Joe Rogan. All right, so let's break it down. Let's look at it. Let's see actually what happened. So let's start off in the beginning. Why is it that Liver King is mad at Joe Rogan? So I think it all stems from this podcast that Joe Rogan put. Hopefully he doesn't copyright me. I don't think he does, but if he does, guys, it's fine, not a big deal. But if you guys would do me a favor and subscribe, like, comment, the whole 9 yards, I'd appreciate it. All right, without further ado, let's watch why there's a beef.
Your 40s, I mean, he's preposterously jacked. Do we have a fucking now that we know that he's full of shit? We're talking about the Liver King, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of people are like, what are they saying? This is all inside stuff. There's a guy, if you don't know who the Liver King is, the guy who calls himself the Liver King, and he's this guy who walks around everywhere with no shirt on. I've seen him in Vegas with no shirt on, big bushy beard, super jacked. And he was telling people that the way he gets that way is by sunning his balls. He literally lays down with his asshole staring at the sun and eats raw liver and just lifts like a maniac.
So Joe did kind of talk some stuff there. I mean, he's not saying something nice, right? I mean, he's saying some pretty harsh things. But just to kind of talk about what he's referencing. So Liver King had come out saying that he was completely natural, was a lie. He got busted, I think, through Nightline or something like that. And they actually had him, they found out that he was using steroids. I think something about paying $11,000 a month on steroids. It was insane. But let's continue this.
And that's how he's so jacked. But it's preposterous.
Yeah, too many polar extremes. Are you guys able to play the apology without it being copyrighted?
Sure.
We can play it for
Come after us.
I don't.
Well, Joe Rogan says, come after us. Do you think Liver King may have saw that as an opportunity to, all right, that's an invite to come after you? Not saying that that's what he meant, but when you're talking to somebody who might be unstable, who is possibly using things like steroid use, which there is a thing called roid rage. I mean, Chris Benoit, he was a wrestler back in the day, and he took his family and himself out after roid raging. It was completely tragic and unfortunate. And so those things that happen when people abuse certain type of drugs like this. And so paying $11,000 a month, I mean, I'm not familiar with how much steroids you can get on $11,000 a month, but that doesn't sound like a small amount.
I don't know what like the Spotify copyright rules are
listen, I think Spotify can handle this.
Okay.
Play the YouTube version.
Let's play it.
Put a
Yes. Your highest and most dominant form.
Yeah.
What he wanted everybody that's depressed and trying to kill themselves to reach their highest, most dominant form. But he wanted to lie about how he achieved his physique. So mislead these people that just by eating liver, you can come close to that. So as you fail at that as well as everything else you failed at life, it led you to the point of doing something to yourself that you're thinking about committing suicide.
Yeah.
Like that's what he's saying.
I feel like in this video, he had like a very good opportunity to just straight up say, sorry, I fucked up, etc., which I think he thought he was doing, but he also makes a few little comments in there that
you know what the problem is? Sometimes people don't hang out with people that are smarter than them. And you think you're the smartest person, or maybe because he's running this company, people have to listen to him. So he's got this distorted perception of his ability to communicate and his ability to
I think there's a lot of people that have this problem, to be honest with you.
Convince people. Like that was so theatrical and so corny.
I don't know how, like, what kind of thought process elaborate. Like his team was, where it's probably never going to come out.
Does he have a team?
Yeah, it's pretty elaborate. Like his team was, he has a media team that he hired to kind of like.
Right, but they're just employees. One of them came up to me in Vegas.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I'd edited out a lot of what they were saying in between there because I just wanted to pull in what it was that Joe Rogan was saying. But what Liver King was saying was that once he got busted, he goes, I screwed up. I screwed up. And then instead of saying I screwed up, he didn't use those words. He used the F word. He was like, I effed up. And I got caught. But he was trying to justify what he was doing by saying that he was doing it for the kids who are down on themselves. It didn't really make any sense. It was kind of weird. And so they're laughing about that. But here I think is important because it sounds like this guy, Liver King, has been trying to get on Joe Rogan's podcast for some time. Let me rewind this just a little bit, and you'll hear where he talks about it.
Where it's probably never going to come out.
Does he have a team?
Yeah, it's pretty elaborate. Like his team was, well, he has a media team that he hired to kind of like.
Right, but they're just employees.
Yeah.
One of them came up to me in Vegas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one of my security guards stopped him. He was like, "I'm a producer for the Liver King." I'm like, "Produce? What the fuck do you produce? What are you producing?"
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
It's not a
if-
movie.
Like, how many UFC events did he try and kind of like cozy up?
He was front row at one of my shows in Vegas
Oh, damn.
at the MGM.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then I saw him again at the Canelo fight. He was trying really hard to get on the podcast, and he's been trying really hard to get on now. He contacted a few friends of mine.
Now, this podcast aired 2 years ago. 2 years ago. So this isn't a recent podcast. This was a podcast that aired from Joe Rogan over 2 years ago, actually, because it says 2 years. So it had to be at least 2 years or older. So if it was like a year and like 10 months, it would populate as 1 year. So it could be 2 years and 10 months. It could be 2 years and 1 month, but it says 2 years ago. So at least over 2 years ago is when this podcast came out. And so he had been trying for a long time then. He said that he had continued to try. At this point, it sounds like, Joe Rogan didn't want to bring him on, and he's just kind of raised the antics up and up and up in efforts to get his attention. We've seen this kind of thing happen before on the show. Here with the Drunk Turkey Show, I was actually called out. Somebody basically asked me said that we should speak face to face, kind of saying, let's go step outside. And I was like, whoa, dude, you're not going to come on here and attack me. And he was blocked. And then I got an email afterwards, and he said, no, I wanted to talk to you so we could do a show together. And it was basically the same approach. And his whole plan was to get people to go to his show. And I guess goal accomplished on a small aspect of it, because a few people talked about it, but we never did the show. And so it never grew into anything bigger than that. And so it is an antic that people will do if they're trying to get somebody's attention to come on their show. It's one that I don't think is a successful one. It sounds like, when you had that little boy in like fourth grade that has a crush on some little girl, and instead of like being sweet to her, he's a jerk because he likes her. It's kind of like that. This guy wants to be on the show, and because, for whatever reason, Joe turned him down. He's wants to fight him, and if he doesn't fight him, he wants to be on. It's ridiculous, to be honest with you.
And some of them that have, like Burt Kreischer, that had him on the show.
Yeah, he told me he's trying to get on.
Yeah, for what? For what? Say that more? Like, come on, this is dumb, man. This is you ran a con game and you got busted.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that you feel terrible. I'm sorry you feel bad, because that's just what happens when you get caught lying. But you didn't have to lie.
I have a lot of respect for Joe Rogan. Liver King is a guy that is a polarizing individual. If Joe Rogan had him on his show, given the amount of followers that Liver King has, given the controversy that was going on, given the fact that people would expect Joe Rogan to call him out on his bull crap, the whole it's natural stuff, right? I think that could have been a very powerful and a big show, and he chose not to do it. And I respect that. He did something very similar with like the president and things like that in the past, where I think he had Bernie Sanders on because he liked him, but he didn't have anybody else on, and that included Trump, because he didn't want to have any sway in the political aspect. And then he kind of shifted, and when he shifted to having political persons on, he sent out an invite to both sides, right? It wasn't just one-sided. And so he's been very fair, very down the middle, in my opinion. And so I think he did the right thing by not having him on. If his belief was that all he was going to do is spread more misinformation going on his platform to more people. And kudos to Joe Rogan on that one.
Yeah, I don't even see how bad it would have been if from the get-go he was like,
I'm returning back from wasn't the truth.
All right. So there it is. So that was it for the Joe Rogan podcast as far as what may have provoked him. What it was this guy wanted to be on his podcast, and then Joe Rogan may have said something to him or about him over 2 years ago, and then things change, right? So some things change. Now let's go to some videos. Viewer discretion is advised of Liver King. Let's see. Hopefully it didn't break it. I don't know where we're at. 2 minutes and 38 seconds. I may need to reload this. Give me a second, guys. Alrighty. And so now we'll look at old boy here. Give me a sec.
Really hard to get on the podcast, and he's been trying really hard to get on now. He contacted a few friends of mine, and some of them that have, like Bert Kreischer, that had him on the show.
Yeah, he told me he's trying to get on.
Yeah, for what? For what? Say that more? Like, come on, this is dumb, man. This is a fucking, you ran a con game and you got busted.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that you feel terrible. I'm sorry you feel bad, because that's just what happens when you get caught lying. But you didn't have to lie.
That's not, we're not sharing that.
I don't even see how bad it would have been if from the get-go he was like,
I'm returning back from Apocalypto.
So the first thing that he's talking about, and I edited a lot of this part out, and I didn't, there's only one interaction that I have with him and his dog, and he's not doing anything with like that to the dog. But I did notice the dog was very cowardly towards him. And so what you're saying there, Afton, kind of makes sense as to why the dog was very cowardly towards him. So he comes in right here saying that there's these different levels of challenges, and he just came off of one called Elliptico or whatever. And he's talking about the barbarian one before it, and that you do push-ups from sun up to sundown, 10,000 push-ups and a bunch of other stuff, bloody knuckle push-ups on your hands. Later on, he says he hasn't worked out in a year, yet he just talked about doing the elliptical, the apocalyptical, or whatever it's called, and the barbarian and a bunch of other stuff. So the guy's all over the place.
I didn't know what it was until just... And I'm going on the Kyle Kingsbury podcast. I should say that different. I asked Kyle if I could go on his podcast.
So here he's talking about another podcast. Now, he doesn't talk about Joe Rogan in this segment that I clipped out for everybody here. But what he's talking about is going on somebody else's podcast and how he asked, and they were kind enough to bring him on. Kind of just giving us a little glimpse of why he's upset at Joe Rogan.
And he was awesome enough to say, yeah, come on to the podcast. Kyle Kingsbury, I think he's awesome. It won't be edited like everything else. The movie wasn't the truth. My family is received everywhere in the world, anywhere that they go. Anyone who's seen the movie, they receive my family with a lesser version of what their truth actually is, and they don't deserve that. I hope to be able to share more. Thank you, God. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Source, for right now. Thank you, Kyle, for inviting me on to talk about the truth, to elucidate the truth, and remind me to not say the three entities that are evil as fuck that thought you could make money by trying to destroy, by doing things that weren't true. Remind me to not say their names because they don't deserve any of that.
I'm assuming he's talking about Joe Rogan and some other people who don't want him on the podcast. And he quickly changes his mind now. Now, these videos that I'm about to play are over the span of like 2 days. There's a lot of them, and I've edited them down a lot. Like I said, I've taken a lot of stuff out. I watched hours of this guy's rants. And so you guys didn't have to, and I just kind of pulled out the parts. Now, this is the first time where he actually threatens, in my opinion, Joe Rogan. Or no, maybe not threatens, but challenges him.
Go mingle. Oh, yeah, you could do it. It's awesome. It's fun. You should come. You should play. But I'm making a video. That's what just happened. More importantly, I'm picking a fight with Joe Rogan.
Now, I do have this sped up a little bit. I have it sped up a little bit. So he's not talking as fast as this, but he was talking super slow, which is why I sped it up a little bit.
I'm picking a fight. I am. Because it's out of principle. I'm not going to go fight with this guy. Do you see? I don't know. Hopefully you can see. You see that guy? Can you see him? That's him. I'm picking a fight with him because I think that it matters to me. It matters to me. It's not going to work, bro. So I'm picking a fight just in case y'all don't know with Joe Rogan. Could y'all tell him to watch these videos? And that $1 million Liver King.
And I don't know why he has so much loud music in the background. It's so annoying. I apologize, guys.
Challenges you. Did you hear Joe Rogan? To a fight, $1 million. And then whoever has to pay $1 million They donate that to a charity. It's good and true.
So he said they donate it to a charity of good and true. Now, I don't know if that's like a charity that he's just created, because I couldn't find a charity called Good and True, or if he's talking about a good and true charity. But throughout these rants, he kind of changes the narrative to whoever loses has to pay $1 million to a charity of his choosing, which is probably going to end up winding back in his pocket. That's what I'm that's what I'm thinking.
Oh man, so a fight to unite, everybody wins. And I don't know if you heard, but the after party, I'm inviting Joe Rogan to my house, his family to meet my family together, to be together after the fight. And I really hope you come. I hope that you look as good as I look. The message is what matters. The name doesn't. And you don't get to talk shit about people. You don't get to talk shit about people. You get to make comedy. That's awesome. Good and true comedy. Laugh, good and true. Well, is this really happening? I'm coming to Austin tomorrow, bro. All of us. I'm driving there at about 4 o'clock, and
the crazy thing is, like, his family agrees with him doing all this. Like, you'll hear I'm assuming his son, maybe I don't know, somebody from his team. Maybe they're just hyping him up. Maybe they're getting paid to say those things, but they're hyping him up too. It's crazy.
I'm gonna fight you, and I don't care where you are. I'm just gonna wait, and whenever you're ready, it could be tomorrow, and I'm gonna wait. You can weigh me and weigh probably a lot less than you. I haven't worked out this year.
So he goes, I weigh a lot less than you. I haven't worked out this year. But he just talked about coming off of this retreat that he went out in the woods and was doing all this crazy stuff. He had twigs in his hair and scratches on his face. I wouldn't be surprised if he scratched his face with the twig and then put it in his hair. But that's what was going on.
I don't do that anymore. I retired the Liver King character. What you did on the internet, that didn't retire. That didn't retire. Honor, that didn't retire either. Courage, that didn't retire. Mastery, that don't retire. Loyalty above all. That's above, at the very top of the family crest. There's a fight. Liver King versus Joe Rogan. Okay, real quick. P.S. What I'm hoping is that you, Joe Rogan, are thinking, I'm going to choke that motherfucker out. Lights out. I'm going to choke him out. And I kind of hope that if you win, that's how it happens. Because, like, to wake up from that dream, that's a good feeling. And then anything else that you could break on me, break it on me. I hope that you won't feel me tap. That's never happening, tapping. Because I have something actually to fight for.
So he's hoping that he gets choked out by Joe Rogan. He talks about not tapping. He talks about that, he hopes that Joe Rogan snaps his limbs. It's weird desires. I'll be honest with you. It's a weird desire. Now, he talks about what his true motive is, which is he wants to be on the podcast. That's what it really is. I don't think he really wants to fight Joe Rogan. He's just using that as a tactic, in my opinion.
Actually, that's my family. I have a principle to fight for. What do you have to fight for? You're fighting. I hope you're mad. You should choke me out. You know how to do that. You're trained. You're trained. You got a black belt. Black belt in jiu-jitsu. I hope you choke me out. And if you don't choke me out, these other limbs will be interesting. Should be very interesting. That's the PS. It's just, I already thought about my game plan. I don't have a plan. I'm not going to train. But I hope you've been training. And I'm ready whenever you're ready. If it's tomorrow, that will be great. Let's do it as soon as possible. If it's not tomorrow, then just whenever you're ready. It'll be like, there's real tension, a real fight, no, shame on you, bro. Shame on you. I'm going to make you pay. I am going to actually make you pay. And what you pay will be donated to Good and True. So that's how barbarians bleed.
See, donated to Good and True. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that is. I've tried looking it up. It doesn't seem like it's an actual thing. Maybe it's something that is new, but I couldn't find anything on Good and True.
It's official. Here's what I weigh. Here we go. What's that weight, Sid? Can y'all see it? Wow, I weigh more than what I thought. It looks like about 192. Official weigh-in. Liver King, 192. Yeah, I've been saving. These are my clothes. These are my suits. I have a black suit. I got a barbarian blood color suit. And what's the other? Oh, emerald green. Yeah. And I'm like, why would I ever wear white? That's ridiculous. I'm gonna wear it after I beat your ass, Joe Rogan. And when I say after I beat your ass, nobody wins nor loses. There's an outcome. There's not good or bad. There's just an outcome. Stimulus and response. and the outcome is good and true, multiplied by that. And then what ends up happening is the king crown. Everybody wants to wear the crown, but all roads lead through Barbarian. I'll see you tomorrow. 192. If you want, I can cut more. I'll be ready whenever you're ready. Or you can release me of this fight, and you can just welcome me right onto the show tomorrow. And I will donate $1 million to a charity of my choosing, good and true. That's
See, there it is again. You can release me. He says this multiple times. You can release me by inviting me onto your podcast, and I'll donate $1 million to a charity of his own choosing. So this is something that continually happens. And guys, I don't know what's going on in the chat as far as why the names come out this way. If anybody can look, I'm going to try to figure it out. I'm not sure why the names are coming out in the manner that they are.
It's also a possibility. Otherwise, it's bloody fucking murder, bro. Bloody murder.
You see right there, he just said it's bloody murder. Do you think that is kind of consistent, or maybe at that point could be construed as a threat? The rest of it is him challenging Joe Rogan to a fight. Joe Rogan is a personality person. Obviously, he's a very famous person. He's done fights in the past. He's not been a fighter for a very long time, but talks about practicing and doing jiu-jitsu and being in the community. Up until this point, he's been challenging him with the thought of money on top of it. Now, this could be just a phrase, right? Just a phrase. And so you have to take it with a grain of salt. Like some people say, we'll say things just out of just saying it, not really with any intent behind it. But this is the first time he says something that would be, I think, considered, if somebody could say, well, I felt like that was threatening. I think this probably is the first one. Outside of him coming in, let's see. I think good and true is his way of saying pinky promise. Maybe. You're right. Maybe. Let's see.
Barbarian Bones, 192.
Yeah, that's disgusting. Like, I don't care if you eat, bone marrow and stuff like that. I when I eat chicken, I'll eat the bone marrow too. But I don't think I eat it like that, and definitely not on camera.
You want to fight me? I'm actually pretty wild. The video, go to Liver Queen, go to her account, and look at her last video. She's boxing, she's fighting, Read the post. Joe Rogan, baldy face. Hurts a little bit. I hope there's real tension to fight. But I hope you actually release me of all this, because tomorrow's family day. It's Sunday. It's Sunday. And I'm going to take my whole family with me to Austin. Guess what, family? 4 o'clock. This is what's happening.
This was all between Saturday and Monday.
What's happening then. So if you could release me of it, that'd be cool too. But you can only release me of it by saying, okay, I'll accept this this organism can come on my podcast. I'll accept $1 million from him to be invited to a foundation to do good. I'm doing my cold plunge. The wagon, I couldn't get the windows up. I called Justin, said this, that, and the other, and then he said that the videos that I made earlier were deleted, archived. And then I said, how come? Why? Because it's not a good look for you, and this and that. And I said, well, I wasn't on drugs then. I'm not on.
See, did you hear that? I wasn't on drugs then. So meaning that either after or before he was on some sort of drugs. And that's what I can allude from that. I wasn't on drugs then. So does Joe Rogan have a point when he says that he sounds like he might be on something? Maybe he does.
I wasn't on drugs then. I'm not on any drug right now. I'm upset. I'm mad. I will honor my family. And I didn't ask anyone's permission to post those videos because I'm my fucking man. I posted those videos. And then someone on my team, Adam, made another really bad decision, incongruent with the truth, concerned to contract in scarcity, to protect like that, not okay. Because I said the truth, I meant the truth. And now I'm fighting with someone on my team. And now I hope you go back.
So there was some people that were telling him it was a bad idea. So there was some people telling him, hey, you shouldn't be doing this. They even went and took the step of deleting and archiving those things. Now, I don't think that, I think when Liver King is challenging Joe Rogan, I don't think it's like a street fight. I think he's trying to challenge him to like like an organized fight with $1 million on the line for a charity of his choosing, which probably ends up winding back up into his pocket. Just my speculation, just saying. I have no idea, because he talks about a foundation that I can't find. So I don't know. Maybe he's got a foundation that's real and that he wants to support. And if that's the case, then, more power to him on that. But, he really doesn't name one. He just says it's his choosing, which I find a little odd.
To my profile page, and I hope that we get the attention that it deserves. I actually challenged Joe Rogan to a fight. True. $1 million the loser pays to donate to a charity. Good and true of my choosing. True. Ready to go immediately.
So he says good and true of my choosing. So I don't think that the charity is named good and true just because he just said that. Good and true of my choosing. So basically something that he agrees with. So I wish he would name which one he's talking about, to see if there's any alliance or affiliates with him. Is he a board member? Is he the founder? You know what I'm saying? Those type of things. If he has no connection and it's actually a charity, then more power to him on that. Not for the fight, but more power to him for supporting charities and things like that.
That's true. I weigh 192, maybe less. And then afterwards, I still want to invite Joe Rogan, or I'll come to his house. I'm inviting him to mine for us to have dinner afterwards. All of that's still true. Okay. Boom. Click send. And really, I'm saying you can also release me of all of those things if you just invite me on the podcast. You'll make my life a lot easier. I bet we could have a fun conversation and maybe like each other a little bit. If you guys make my life a little easier today, and if you can just get me an invitation to Joe Rogan, that's what I'm asking for, really. Or a fight. And a fight too.
So he was honest there for a second. That's what he's asking for, really. He just wants to be on the podcast, but he's not got the attention over the span of years. It's been well over 2 years that he's been trying for a significant amount of time, and now he's resulted to, threatening to a certain extent, or challenging. Let me put it that way. At this point, challenging. One word of murder. So it's a little bit kind of but at this point, challenging. We'll keep it there.
Can someone tell me if Joe Rogan has accepted the invitation for the fight? Have I gotten his attention yet?
These are all the same days, guys. There's only 2 days.
Joe Rogan, I want to fight you, real tension. But I want to unite with you too, and you can release me of the actual physical fight. If you'll just invite me on the podcast, a family, you can release me of all of the crazy videos. If you'll just invite me on the podcast.
The admits are crazy.
That's what I'm asking. Please put me on the podcast with you. But for anyone who's on standby for today, thank you for getting everything ready. But we're resting today. If I could just...
So this is the next day. That was all on Saturday. This is Sunday. And he's saying that they're going to rest today and do some other things.
Formally get an invitation onto Joe Rogan podcast, and I'll release myself of leaving tomorrow. But guys, we're leaving tomorrow at around 12. No one's going to be obnoxious. We're not going to do the motorcade. Forget the motorcade. My family's just going to be in a car, probably the K-Wagon, probably the G-Wagon, and the General. Probably have somebody in the General. Probably Justin Fitzpatrick will drive the General.
So they're going to have 3 cars, not a motorcade. They're going to travel down there.
To go and do some good and true with it, like rip Joe Rogan apart in an actual fight, and then bond afterwards. Hey, picking a fight with Joe Rogan. Yeah, the principal. Yeah. Okay, you can call it crazy as much as you want, but crazy won't stop and won't sleep until I either get invited on the podcast. Joe Rogan, you have to invite me, please, I'm asking. Or else I'm just going to come to Austin for 1 week. 1 week, it starts today, right now. It starts today. I don't even know what day it is. But it's starting, and I'm not going to go to sleep. And I am going to sleep. I'm going to rest, but right now, I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight for my family, for what's right, and I'm not going to stop. And I'm going to fight. Joe Rogan,
now, this, I think, is probably a big threat. He's got 2 guns in his hands, and he's saying, I'm calling you out. Now, this is where I think the line is starting to get crossed. I mean, I think he crossed the line a little bit before, I mean, if the guy says no, the guy says no. I mean, take the hint, take the hint. Sometimes people just, doesn't matter what you say or do, they don't agree with you and they don't want to have that conversation. You know what I mean? And so take the hint. and this guy don't want to take that hint. But here he is with weapons in his hands.
Putting you out. My name's Liver King. Man to man. I'm picking a fight with you. Yeah. I have 0 training in jiu-jitsu. You're a black belt.
That's crazy. I wonder if the pro burgers do this before they go on their shows or when they're watching me.
You should dismantle me.
They don't look like him, though.
But I'm picking a fight with you. Your rules. Whatever you want me to weigh, I'll weigh it. I weighed 190 this morning. I'll come to you.
So he's yelling, screaming with guns in his hands. I'm gonna mute it just for a second because the music is kind of loud and I don't know what music that is. But he's there and he's doing some weird stuff. And then he starts doing his weird dance. So I think at that point you're probably, I'm thinking that's crossing the line. That's crossing the line at that point. In my opinion, I think Joe Rogan at this point now has a point. Has a point as far as the terroristic threat. Now remember, no motorcade.
Lock it down.
4 cars, no motorcade.
You can't buy this kind of stuff. They're serial numbers, non-replicatable, not reproducible kind of stuff. Presents like that.
So he says, I have a present like this, and he has some sort of weapon, a bladed object looking like a hand axe on top of a box of with Joe Rogan's face on it. Somewhat of a threat, in my opinion.
Joe Rogan, that's how we do it in Texas, you know. That's real man kind of stuff. We're coming to Austin. We're about to leave. Aren't we, boy? Yeah. It's Monday. It's 8 o'clock-ish. And we're coming. It's still happening. And if it could help me end it, well, actually, it won't ever end. Now, we're just so deep into it that it will only build and actually will never go away. I actually have something to fight for. Come on, boy. Something to fight for. Oh, yeah, you can have it. Yeah. And so, we'll see you soon. Real tension I have with you. Real fucking beef. Yeah. Real beef. It's a real fight, yeah. And there comes bearing see if you want to see just a little.
All right, so I'm gonna pause it. It's hard to see, but he says, I got a gift in here for you. I mean, there's a dark object in there, cylindrical. I mean, I don't know if it looks like a gun. Shape's somewhat similar, but could be a hammer. It kind of looks more like a gun there. Yeah, that definitely does look like a handgun there. That, I think, would be considered a threat. That looks like a Glock. So right there, threat. You know, I got something for you. Here's my gift to you. Opens it up. You got yourself a handgun.
Real tension I have with you. Real fucking beef. Yeah. Real beef. It's a real fight, yeah. And there comes bearing see if you want to see just a little.
That looks like a gun, man. I mean, I obviously it's not a clear image, you know, but that looks like a gun. That very much looks like one. I mean, like I said, I think that the 2 times that he's crossed the line at this point are the times that he's had videos with firearms in his hands. You know, up to that point, I think that one can articulate that it was a challenge. You know, 2 personalities, public personalities like them that have Joe Rogan has done some things when it comes to fighting events. You can probably articulate that it was a challenge of some sort. But at this point, I think this is where the line gets crossed.
I might watch that. Oh, I wish if I can live stream, that's what we'll do from now on. Dogs, we come bearing gifts. Gifts for those that deserve it. See you here in a minute. That's how we do it in Texas. Welcome to Texas, Joe Rogan. Oh, you forgot? Oh, you thought I was coming to you. Oh.
Now, there's something on his lip, and he's got a lot of something blue on his mouth. I don't know what causes that. Maybe he was eating a lollipop or a popsicle or something else. But I just wanted to point that out.
I am coming to you. And I weigh 177. We got on a real scale, 177. But a fake scale, 192. Joe Cohen, he's my high priest. Exquisite scientist, biochemist. He's optimized me in a way that I can be articulate enough to dismantle another man, but I wouldn't want to unless I had to, unless he might threaten my family. Fights we can.
I don't understand where the threat of the family comes from. He said that a couple of times. He said he's fighting for his family. I don't know.
Can pick in many ways, physically, mentally, and shit. Okay. Adam, what time is it? What time? It's about 8:30ish. 8:31. Oh, I was on this. Where are we going, Adam? Austin, Texas. And who's Liver King picking a fight with?
Joe Rogan.
Everybody knows. Whoa. Yeah, boy. Woo, we might be hearing that a bunch. It goes like this. It goes fist bump, pound, lock it down. What day is it? Monday.
See, it's Monday. All this has been since like Saturday. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I mean, all the videos, and there's a lot more. And I edited these down quite a bit. This guy he was ranting for those days on end, challenging Joe Rogan.
It's Joe Rogan, you come first, versus Liver King Day. Everything. Because Joe Rogan, we don't have to make videos to pretend anymore. All of this is happening. We're coming to you. I've challenged you man to man to a fight. Honorable. And we don't have to pretend or make any videos. The world is watching. They'll make the videos for us. And you don't have to hold a camera. You can hold the hand of somebody that you love, because what happens next to you, you're going to need to remember that feeling. You're going to need something more than what you did to give you something to fight for, because I have my family to fight for. And then I'll die for them, you know that. And you're a black belt, but you've never come across something like this. Willing to die, hoping that you'll choke me out. I pray to God, because that's a dream come true. It feels good. And then the limbs, I'm fighting for my family. So limb. Go ahead. But then you have to contend with something else. And I weigh 177 pounds, an actual savage. And so at first you're like, fuck that guy. And, right? When all of a sudden he did get your attention, which I already did before this, you're saying, I'm going to choke that motherfucker, that piece of fucking shit. I'm going to choke him out. That's what warriors do. You and Andrew Tate are good warriors. But you're actually better than that real tension we have. Comedy that you do is good and true. We have real tension. But what I see in you is comedy is good and true. Touch points. How people laugh. If we don't make fun of them at their expense, they laugh. You should all make fun of me. You should all make fun of me at my.
See, he made a mistake, and then he went back at it again. You should all make fun of me at my expense. So making fun of him at his expense and get paid for it or whatever is his way of, and I'm doing it. I'm putting him in the spotlight. It's him getting in the spotlight and getting more traction and more views, so to speak. Maybe not so much views, but more publicity. And we're doing it here. It's worked. His arrest has gotten him quite a bit of publicity. It's been trending for a few days now. And so, yeah. I mean, it sounds like that's what part of his goal was, mission accomplished when it comes to that.
Expense. Trust me, that it still works. And then you should get paid for it. And let's go. Because we're leaving. We're going to Austin. What was my very last point?
That we're gonna kick Joe Rogan's ass?
The real G said it. Oh, it's my speech. Justin. Just pulling up to the capital of Texas. What's the capital of Texas? Houston. It's Houston.
I don't know if he was serious or not. I don't know if he was serious or not. I just want to leave that there.
Guess what? You're dead, bitch.
All right. Now you have the 2 times that he's come out with guns. And now you have, guess what? You're dead. It's not looking good. It's not looking good for his side. He's putting all this out there. It's still out there on his channel. Or on his Instagram. So, he's put this out there. This is evidence that's probably going to be used against him in his, hearings and things of that nature. If it gets there. This guy's a wealthy man, so we'll see. We'll see. Sometimes lawyers will drag things out and things of that nature. And so, but guess what? You're dead. That's not a good stance. Oh man, I pushed back for 10 seconds and I hope it didn't make a mistake. Where are we at? 17 minutes and 53 seconds. Hopefully I don't have to redo what I did earlier again, but I think I might. Give me a sec. So yeah, crazy stuff. I want to say welcome to Pitts B, Steelers fan, being the newest member, and Artworks also coming in, being a member for 13 months. Thank you, my man. Thank you. Appreciate it, both of you guys. Let's see. Let me pull this up real quick. Here we are.
The capital of Texas. What's the capital of Texas? What's the capital of Texas? Houston. It's Houston. Guess what? You're dead, bitch. You're dead. You're dead. Because welcome to Texas. We just got here.
Weird.
Hey, Joe Rogan, I want to introduce you to...
First thing I noticed is this guy listening to the soundtrack of Interstellar? Like, who does that? Like, that's the first thing I noticed when I play this. Like, this guy's listening to Interstellar.
Bitch, you're dead. You're dead. Because welcome to Texas. We just got here. Hey, Joe Rogan, I want to introduce you to Jim Riggs. Jim Riggs. This is Joe Rogan. I know what this is, Joe Rogan. I'm going to call it Jim Riggs. You might not know what it is, but it's of really good utility. It's not a pretender. It's actually for real. A couple of things are for real.
So look at what he has here. He has a file, a heavy duty file. He's got some a pocket knife that has one of those utility knives that has a bunch of uses. It's in the pliers position, and he has something in a green container on top of the box. Now this is important because later on he talks about his arrest, and that part of it was that maybe perhaps he was building some sort of bomb. You know, were these objects that were on the box a reason to believe that? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's in the green bottle. You know, the other stuff, I mean, it could be for anything, but that's what one of the things he was saying. We'll hear that here in a minute.
A couple of them. If you were to take a picture of this, what do you see?
Yeah, what do you see? So you got the file, that there's a lot of some sort of debris on the box. I don't know what's that up there at the top or that there to the side. That looks like some sort of can, actually. What's in its container? I don't know. But he's pointing out something. He wants people to see what's there.
Technology. That's what I use on my nails. You don't want... Should I make a video? Dude, if you see how I handle my toes, and then the hands that are actually going to do something to you of consequence because you deserve it and you earned it.
All right, so that is up into his arrest. What do you guys think? Do you think there's enough there that would warrant an arrest for a terroristic threat? Yeah, you guys let me know. Put it in the comment section. We're going to go over the next part, but that is what led to his arrest. Do you guys think that there's enough there? I think that there is. I truly do. I think he kind of screwed himself by putting all this out there, but he had weapons in his hands at one point. He used the term murder. He said, "You're dead," multiple times. And then it appears that he said, "I have a gift for you." And when he opened it, it looked like there was some sort of handgun in there. So I would say, I think it's enough. I think it's probable cause. Now, this is his arrest. They videotaped him getting arrested.
I'm not recording while dealing with the cops outside.
Damn, this took a while. I'm so sorry. Take it back. God, thank you. Perfect amount of resistance. So you're just picking up where we're leaving off. So I just need to put stuff on. Just put stuff, because they're not going to take me naked.
Do you want the green? No. The green is better.
He seems different.
The game is perfect, Queen. Can I put my shoes on and stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
And if you need a new patch or anything?
You should record anything and everything. And when I go to the back, Justin's recording Fitzpatrick. He's got the most beautiful wife in the world. You wouldn't want to take most of them to prison. I wonder if I have to go. You should just record this. I wonder if I have to go.
His shirt is Joe Rogan versus Liver King.
Did they arrest you on the shitter?
Like I said, he was trying to
publicize this. Because Joe Rogan, this is how I do my name. Can I take my phone? They probably won't let me take my phone.
You can take your phone and hold it.
Oh, yeah? We're still talking. If you don't
He
mind,
wants to take
what
his
are
file
you?
with him. It's
The
weird.
state of Texas, that's where they do the Alamo stuff. I was making my morning fire.
He's got a knife right there
my
too.
morning fire, and this is what
Different
goes in
knife.
the fire. In
Not
life,
the utility
this
one.
is an adventure we have in life. We can do this thing. It's a master builder. We can build people. Celebrate comedy's awesome. You're still great, Joe Rogan. I can be arrested. Yeah, I'm gonna fight you. Real tension. It's all gonna happen. I'm speaking fast now. Or you can never change. Never change. Can you edit this later and then put it? Post this immediately, but then later add my anthem song. Never change. Never change. So you can evolve. It's a 10th ancestral tenet. You could do that one. You could evolve, or you could never change. That's going. Master builder. We're gonna keep. Destroyer. That goes in the fire. That's what I was gonna be recording.
He's burning something. What's in that? I mean, so he goes, that's going in the fire. It sounds like he's destroying some evidence. What's in there? What was he building? What are those materials that he's destroying all of a sudden? Yeah. You know what I mean?
I don't plan for much. I did.
He's not still locked up.
We know.
You're not going to stop recording.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Let's just not have that on your pocket.
A Leatherman?
Yeah.
A Leatherman.
Knife in it.
I know, but it's not reasonable to have a Leatherman.
They're going to take it off of you.
Okay, keep protecting me like Peter Nemeth tried to. Don't say anything. Contract. Don't say anything. When did I do that's illegal? Can somebody first just because as soon as you can do that, keep recording. Because what we do is family. You never have to be embarrassed of family. Ancestral honor, it's called reputation. We're the Liver King family, a real king, a real queen who's kind of scared.
She looks pissed.
Striker over here is kind of scared.
She's like, stop your shit, dude. You're going to jail.
The first time, do you remember what I said? I said, guys, Bob was not fast enough to make it to the plane. I get her. But I'm about to sprint as fast as I can to the plane. All the police are talking over here. I'm going to make a run for the jet. I'm going to go as fast as, and I'm pretty fast now, especially now, 178 pounds, Joe Rogan. But you weigh more than me. You're a black belt. Why not just for fun fight me, or like physical fights, real fight, real tension? I don't have any training. There's 126 ways to choke someone out. This is the technique and strategy. We call it jiu-jitsu. There's an infinite amount of ways. Be primal. That's my boy. And the primal part of it is the fun part.
You see, that was weird. He goes, there's an infinite amount of ways to be primal. And then look at what he does with his hand. And the object in his hand.
Primal.
You see that? Primal. And then he's like making a little stabby motion to the side.
Why not just for fun fight me, or like physical fight, real tension? I don't have any training. There's 126 ways to choke someone out. This is the technique and strategy. We call it jiu-jitsu. There's an infinite amount of ways. Be primal. That's my boy. And the primal part of it is the fun part was going to jail. Cops are coming. And I say, I'm going to run. I'm going to go. I'm going to sprint. You can fucking make it. I know you can. I know you can too. Okay. I'm fucking going to get my wife.
You don't want to run. She's like, no.
She's going to make it, you guys. It's okay. Okay, we'll say bye to her later. We don't have time to go. Do you remember that in Poland?
Do you need anything else? Okay.
Just a quick glance around the room. We don't need to talk as a family. We're going to record everything. We always talk as a family. Talking is a lie to begin with. So that you can tell me any secrets. You're going to keep recording from right there, okay? Justin, if you don't mind, I don't mean you're going to go back over there. Yeah, there you go. You're going to keep recording, okay? You're going to whisper something by ear.
What's he afraid of? That somebody's going to say something? That he's violent or something? I don't know, maybe he just wants to record the entire thing.
How about this? Keep recording. Stay there, okay? Can we go over here behind this door? She's going to have a conversation with me. Okay, Striker, keep recording, okay, Justin?
Well, we're going to fast forward until he gets... They put on the music so you can't hear what they're saying.
Yeah, so y'all boys should too. Everyone should be coming. Yeah, I would love it if all of that could be. Are they right outside?
Yep.
The police?
Yep. They're unmarked.
How much time do you think we have? Wait, they're unmarked?
They're
How do you know the police?
Because I saw their badge.
How do you know the real badges?
Because worked in law enforcement for a very long time.
And so you know it's a real badge?
Yes.
How? Do you know legit?
Legit.
So you know, okay, so if it's legit, means everything's legit. So how much time do I have to take a photo? I just finished my share all this, please. And I'd like to share what happened behind closed doors too, because at the end it's fist bump, pound, lock it down. When it's time for any respective family, 4 pillars to lead, united we always are. Look, we're here as a family. Our dogs are here. We're all here. This is intense. Dad's getting arrested. We know how it went the first time. Didn't feel good. Rep 1, rep 2, united family, familiar, resistance, stronger. Don't forget to have fun, guys. Adventure fun. Master builders. Fist bump, pound, lock it down. That's behind closed doors. Could you just let them know, like,
You gonna take shit?
I could really be out of here in about probably 12 fucking. I'll set my timer for 12 minutes, and I can deliver on exactly those words. But I'll need for you to come back and tell me, let's start the time. Don't stop recording with the police and all that. Okay?
He wants 12 minutes to drop a deuce.
I mean, keep going, keep walking.
He's got it on lockdown. It's gonna take 12 minutes.
Anyone else that you can get to record you, like Christian, should be recording you too. Anyone who is free, not my family, okay? Not my family, but anyone on our ecosystem team should be. Go ahead and share more of the.
The cops are apparently outside.
You're more than welcome to come in. He is asking to take his last shit. If you would like to make your presence known.
Imagine being the officer being told that he wants to take his last poo.
Oh, are we coming to get me? I don't have 12 minutes. Can I have 2 minutes?
I've asked them, and
Can I have 12 or is it 2? It has been 20 minutes. So right now, is it 12, 2, or 0? It would be 0. It would be 0. So you're saying it would be, but you didn't actually follow through with that action. So is it 20 seconds? Is it 30? 20 seconds or 30? Like it.
Oh man, that's an officer safety issue. I'd be like, dude.
Shit. I actually haven't broken the law. My real family is here. You're a real man. You're a real woman. If you have a family, you know what this might feel like to a mom. You might know what this feels like to a dad. Where nothing was actually done wrong, and maybe
This is an uncomfortable situation. I've been in a lot of these situations. It's bringing back some memories.
I had no time. 0.
I would have told the guy, "No, dude, you're going to jail," and he would have gone. He would have gone. I was used to be in law enforcement, guys.
You're telling me I can't have 12 minutes?
This sounds like this guy. Like it feels like it's about to get. I haven't seen this. Oh, I don't think he gets physical, but it seems like it could very easily get that way.
And then you guys are receiving me
his tension, his
time, because you know the principle of the matter. I'm an actual man, husband to my queen, and you think you're gonna, and you could. You guys have the right to. You might not be strong enough to actually. And the thing that would suck is I would still supplicate. You can still do whatever you want to me. I would do that too, but I could handle both of you guys. And my boys are right there. Striker and Rad are right there. My boys. So can I have 12 minutes to just finish my action?
This guy's threatening him. This guy's threatening him. He's saying what he's basically saying is, I could kick your tails. I could beat you guys up. I can do all that. I'm going to let you take me. I'm going to be nice enough to let you take me. Just let me go take a dump. But if you don't, I'm going to beat you up. I mean, that's basically, he's threatening them. He's basically threatening them in this situation as well. And he said, you know, you guys aren't strong enough, and these other people, and whatever the case may be. You know, there's been a lot of people who have looked strong or are strong that just don't know how to handle themselves like that, and end up getting hurt in the long run. But, you know, like he's calling out Joe Rogan. You know, I'm pretty sure Joe Rogan would hand this guy, you know, something that he would remember.
Actual shit. I did 4 coffee enemas this morning. My intestines don't work like yours. That's what so that man to a man can have 12 exact minutes. We set our timer, and I'll deliver on my word. Thank you. Hold on. That's why I tell time on 2 watches. Never mind, to start with. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Let's lock it the fuck down. Fifth plan, lock it down. I'm not giving you that right now, but I know that you're free.
Dude, I wouldn't let him take his bag in the restroom with him.
Boys, we're leaving in 12 minutes exactly,
okay, he left it down. But that would have been a huge officer safety issue with me. Huge officer safety with that. The whole thing is a huge officer safety. He's had time. The answer was no. It's time to go. And he should have left it at that. But hey, they ended up getting him. They arrested him without anybody getting hurt. So at the end, good job. You know what I'm saying? Good job. All right. So this is him after he gets out of jail.
Blue Scorpion. How do you get ready for a fight? How does Liver King get ready for a fight? Blue Scorpion. Dennis Raxroshi introduced me to it. It's sort of gives you a new disposition. And some guy, he thought if you just put him in jail, have the Violent Crimes Division, have them come arrest him for a terroristic threat. And the whole time that terroristic threat you thought was a bomb or something inside that box was actually a present back for you and your mothership colleagues for having my wife and me in mothership that I've held on to for a while, just looking for the right time to give it to you. So the terroristic threat that was reduced to, I actually don't want to say any details nor any names. That's how you get ready for a fight. And you thought the videos would stop, but they will never stop because, when you fight out of a principle, you got an infinite amount of venom. And then we'll hug and unite, not before, because I gave you that chance. You didn't want to do it. I'll still invite you to do it after, and we don't have to hug after, but at some point you have to capitulate something, and real tension, real fight. Can you believe it? Restraining orders and stuff like that. Well,
that's what I'm thinking too.
No laws will be broken. I can assure you of that. No details will be spoken either. Somebody knows his way around some things, and I invite you to tune in. There's a free Wi-Fi all week. Ask me what the password is for the week. Free Wi-Fi. It's awesome. My name is Liver King. I earned that name. I'm a real king. I'm going to the capital of Austin with my dogs, Axe and Mace. I'm inviting my queen to be there with me. I hope she comes. It's not my intent to fight with anybody.
That sounds like there might be some tension there between him and the queen. He's like, I'm inviting her. I hope she joins. Sounds like there's some tension there. She's probably upset about the whole situation, about him getting arrested. There probably was conversation behind closed doors like, dude, this doesn't look good. Now, as he put out a video earlier that we saw where he was basically saying somebody, that he was arguing with somebody on his team and they wanted to archive what he had put down. I think that there was probably more of that type of conversations being, when the camera was off. And then he probably told him, no, you need to emphasize. I want you to get excited. I want you to build it. Nobody's going to believe it if they don't believe that my people around me don't believe it. Those type of things. And so I wouldn't be surprised if that was kind of what the case was. And it sounds like there might be some trouble in paradise there.
At that time, I have a different plan there. It's like when you set a precedent in court and people say things like versus, like Rogan versus Liver King. We're going to try and work on that law in principle. Bullies being big shouldn't be allowed to get away with not good and true. If it's good and true, you should be able to get away with it. But Rogan versus Liver King, again, it's not what you think. I'm talking about the filmmaker, the actual genius comedian, good and true. That guy's good and true. I'll pick a funny fight with him. So we're going to go there for that reason. But 200 yards, restrain myself I must do. If anybody, here's how we do it. If anybody's last name is Rogan and you're in the capital of Austin, Texas, like Capitol Hill stuff place, like where they make laws like Rogan versus Liver King, where bullies that are big, that don't just do good and true, are held accountable. Yeah, that's where I'm going to go. So if you don't mind, just don't be there for a little while within 200 yards. Oh, how about this? If your first name starts with a J and the last name is Rogan, announce yourself if you're at Capitol. In the actual Capitol, like where it looks really cool. Where is it at? Where are you at, Capitol? That's where we're going. Somewhere. I don't know if I can see it. Yeah, boy! That's how all roads actually bleed when you're barbarian. So we're going to go there, and I invite everyone else to come. The news should be there. But if your first name starts with a J and the last name is Rogan, I actually do invite your family in. And I take it back. I invite you to come to meet my family. That's what I invite. But because of these things, the ankle monitor, stuff like that, and because of the law, I can't invite you to do that. Not tonight. Not
That's pretty serious.
July, this date, after these things are resolved, which I can't say. After then everyone is invited. But just tonight, I'm going to invite the news. Any news who wants to come? Actually, I invite the whole world to join live in real time. I invite everybody, especially Texans. Texas is cool. Welcome to Texas.
And that's it. That's all of it. he's got a ankle monitor. That's serious. I mean, they don't just give you one of those. That's a condition of bail. That's a condition that a serious offense is being alleged. You know, you don't just get that. He says that it was dropped down and those type of things. I haven't seen the court documents myself, but if I don't know if you get a ankle monitor for something like that, if it was dropped down to a misdemeanor. It's pretty extreme, pretty intense, you know, to violate somebody's rights in the manner that they want to monitor where you're at and be able to see where you're at. That means violate your privacy in that manner. You would have to be a danger to, or they would have to find a significant need for it, that they believe that you're a danger to somebody or some persons or yourself for that matter to do something like that. So pretty crazy. So some people are saying smaller channels, nothing was different. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know what's going on with the name changes. I don't like it, but I'm gonna do some research and see if I can fix it by the next show. Hopefully we can get that back in order. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Do you think that there should be a fight? I don't think so. I think Joe did the right thing. Do you think that the charges were adequate? I think they were. I think there was enough evidence there to say that this guy threatened Joe Rogan, and that any reasonable person would have felt threatened with what he was saying and what he was presenting and how he was carrying weapons and some of the challenges that he was making and some of the verbiage that he used, you know. And Joe Rogan said he feels that he may be under the influence of some sort of drug and have a drug problem. I think there's evidence of that. You know, he himself said he wasn't on drugs at a specific point. He said, I wasn't on drugs then, implying that at different other parts of the night or day that he was on drugs. So, you know, I think there's some at least evidence there or probable cause to arrest him. Will it stand? Will it stick? I don't know. You know, I think it could. I think he could, but I'm sure Liver King has a very, very well-paid attorney on his team as well. And so we'll see how that ends up going down. It could turn into a civil suit. Who knows? Who knows? If you guys have any questions, put a couple stars there. Let me know. We'll call this one a show. Let's see. I think he's cray and charges were appropriate. I think so too. A lot of people were looking up meth pops. I'm not gonna look that up. Yeah, I'm gonna take y'all's word. Does it turn your mouth blue in the same manner? Let's see. I don't see any questions, but yeah, I see a lot of people that are agreeing that this is sad. Yeah, he's up there in age too. Seems desperate for attention. Yeah, well, I mean, he's had a lot of negative attention, right? Ever since he got busted. You know, his goal was to be at certain levels. I think he had written out a manifesto saying that he wanted to have X amount of viewers, millions of viewers after 1 year. So he had this whole plan on being at a certain level of I guess, famousness, if you want to say it. And I think when it comes to those things, you can maximize on those opportunities by becoming, you know, you can utilize those materials to monetize those situations, right? Like, for instance, traction to his page, if he's monetized and things of that nature, views, stuff like that, ads, ad work, things like that. And so being relevant and attention seems like it's something that's been the focal point of what he wants. And it seems like, I mean, obviously, if you want to be, if you want to hit it and get some real numbers, you know, being on the most famous, world famous podcast out there, and Joe Rogan's is probably, you're aiming for the top. You know what I'm saying? And it sounds like he's gotten himself on other podcasts with big names. And, you know, nothing against those guys that brought him on. I don't think Joe Rogan thinks anything negative about him. He just didn't want him on his channel because he thought he'd spread some more lies. So more kudos to him. Let's see. I have never seen him until yesterday. What type of channel did he have? You know, I know he had this platform where he was telling people that he was able to build up, bulk up, change his physique by living a certain lifestyle that required him eating, I think, raw liver, bathing outside naked in the sun, sunbathing, and things of that nature. And come to find out, I think he was paying on upwards to like over $11,000 a month in steroids. And so that he's not natural. And he even goes into his rant or his apology. He goes, I'm apologizing, blah, 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 blah. Then he goes, I don't even know why. You know, it's not like I'm a professional sports athlete. Who am I cheating? You know? And it's just like, well, who you're cheating is your viewers, you know, the people that are thinking that it is possible to obtain a certain physique by following your plan. I mean, a lot of people bought into him. A lot of people subscribed to him. A lot of people were following him because they wanted to get in that physique and do those things. And they were duped. A lot of people were duped. They paid a lot of money. Some people paid a lot of money to purchase certain things, and people ruined their bodies and did a lot of different things. And it was all false advertisement. Exactly, Nico. False advertisement. And so, yeah, it's pretty crazy. I have never seen a chancer that large on a lip. I think I will give up eating raw liver. I've never eaten raw liver, guys. I've never eaten raw liver. I think I'd ever want to. You know, it sounds gross. How old is he? I think he's actually 57. Liver King, but he could be 47. Some people say 47, but you know what? I'm gonna look it up real quick. Joe Rogan's 57. That's right. I think that's right. Joe Rogan's the one that's 57. Man, so many pages. So let's see. Liver King age. And he's a YouTuber, is what he goes under. Let's see. 47 years old. And he's known for promoting an ancestral lifestyle and consuming large amounts of raw, unprocessed organ meats, particularly liver. It's not just liver, though. He was also talked about eating I had a burner account that I was on, and my burner account's name was first name Jenna, last name Tolles. Well, that's what he was eating, a lot of those. So put those together if you want, and maybe you guys can figure that out. But yeah, he's nasty. He definitely is. He's nasty. But yeah, he talked about eating, and he eats those raw. He ate those raw. He ate those raw. So I wonder if he's been checked for prion disease. I don't know what that is. But what caught sex? Yeah. Well, it was an interesting show, guys. I'm glad you guys stayed with me on this awesome Saturday. I hope everybody's staying warm. I know there's a heat wave going around. It's like mad cow disease. Ooh. Maybe. I don't know. If you're eating raw livers, you probably do need to get checked for a lot of things. I mean, if you're eating raw food, the body, I get it. Maybe, back in the day, like hundreds of thousands of years ago, maybe there was a time where our bodies were more adapt to eating raw food. But that's not the case anymore. It's been a while since that was the norm. All righty, guys. Well, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys had a safe weekend. I'll see you guys probably on Tuesday. Well, maybe tomorrow. Maybe we'll do another members only tomorrow. Until next time, guys. Peace out.
But it's too late now. I remember you and me, and how careless we could be.
All day and all night, we'd stay up, it felt so right. We were so young, we were so dumb. We would get drunk and then hook up. We were okay, we were alright, staying awake till the sunrise. We were in love, couldn't stop us, like a good drug, never run. We hook up in my car, driving so far, play your guitar, you'd show me your art, let down our guards, think with our hearts, stare at the stars. We were never apart, drinking too young, way too much fun, out in the sun, open when it's gone. Took you to prom, dance to our song, dance all night long till the lights come on. late now. I remember everything and how careless we could be, and how careless we could